Take it away.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Susan Sprouse. I'm from Hampton, Virginia, and I'm very excited to have you with us and realize that your time is valuable. We do this Financial IQ call every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. It lasts 20 minutes, and it will be recorded, and then at the close of the call at that time, I'll stay on the line for about another 10 minutes to answer any questions that you might have. So I was introduced about a year ago to this company called Karatbars International, and I hope that you hear something here today that makes some sense to you. You've been invited to be a part of a huge movement. Remember, someone invited you on this call that didn't want you left behind. The company we will be highlighting is Karatbars International, and we're going to be talking about how to save currency-grade gold and get paid to do that. Because with Karatbars International, we either save money or make money, and that's it. Some of us just want to save money by exchanging our dollars into gold, and some of us want to get out of debt and earn free gold because we actually believe that free gold is the best way to pay for gold at whatever price it is. So we affectionately named this call Heading for the Ark. Remember, everyone laughed at Noah until it started raining, and we believe that the raindrops have started to fall. And so we're going to go back and tell you why we feel the raindrops have started to fall. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the current status of what's currently happening in our economy and in our banking system. Not only are events happening here in the United States, but they're happening in country after country across the world. And because we're a global economy, whatever happens to the dollar in the world happens to you at your home address because it's going to affect your bottom line. So what I want to do right now is I want you to remove all your emotions and ego and put on your wise business cap, and I want to share with you something that will protect your family and your finances in your future. And even if this isn't for you, I promise there is someone you know that needs to hear this message. How many of you remember what happened during the recession of 2007, 2008, 2009? In fact, I would imagine that there's people on this call that are still trying to rebound from that disaster. That last recession was a huge wealth transfer. So let's go back in that time for just a second or two. And how many of you can go back and remember when Wall Street was crashing and foreclosures were at an all-time high and people were losing their savings, their investments, their 401ks were disappearing overnight? The world was flipped upside down. The middle class was practically wiped out and the poor were devastated. And it was during this very same period that the owner of this company, Harold Seiss, was a financial advisor and advised his clients to pull out of the market and put their money in physical gold vaulted offshore. When the smoke had cleared, he had protected his very wealthy clients from that disaster. And it was that event that caused the light bulb to go off in Harold's head, and the seed of Karatbars International was planted and started to germinate. His thought process was simply this: why do only the wealthy have access to currency-grade gold and are able to vault it offshore? Why can't everyone get access to this kind of gold? How can we get gold in the hands of the honest, hardworking people everywhere, but do it in small enough increments that it's affordable and doable? Right now, gold is about $1,200 to $1,300 an ounce, and many can't afford it. But if smaller pieces, such as 1 gram, 2.5 grams, 5 grams of gold bullion were available, people could afford to start saving it. So why gold? People like Robert Kiyosaki, Mike Maloney, Donald Trump, Peter Schiff of Stansberry Digest, Jim Rickards, all business experts, all recommending that right now is the time that we get our hands on as much currency-grade gold as possible. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has a short video on YouTube entitled Cash is Trash, and the title says it all. Everyone should be buying gold just to hedge against inflation. We call it wealth insurance. We all insure our families and our automobiles against theft or fire, but why is it that we don't protect our wealth? Gold is wealth insurance to protect us against confiscation that's caused by inflation. And we hope we never have to use our gold and can leave it as a legacy to our children and to our grandchildren. But if the world ever goes dark, small pieces of spendable gold could be life-changing, and I mean that literally. Since the depths of the Great Depression in 1932, the U.S. dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power. But gold, on the other hand, has soared to over 4,300%. And here's the bottom line, because information is important. Prior to the recession of 2007, 8, and 9, there weren't the warnings like we have today. If you knew in 2004, 2005, 2006 that a recession was coming and going to flip us upside down, take California to the brink of bankruptcy, wipe out savings and retirements, forever change the world as we know it, wouldn't you have done something to protect yourself? You see, we need to be proactive and not reactive. If someone had just given us a little leg up on that information, if they would have just let us in on some of those secret meetings, wouldn't you have put your money somewhere where it was protected or start taking your money out of risky places? If the warnings had been as clear as they are today, most of us would have been more prepared. Not everyone was hurt, but most paid a terrible price and haven't been able to recover even to this day. But I promise you today, no one will tell you that $18 trillion in debt is going to have a happy ending. No one. So we have more warnings today. We've never had as much access to information to help us make our own decisions. So it's time to pay attention, and it's time to get started. So you're on this call for a reason. This call is not to scare you or hype anything. Let's be very clear about one very important fact. We don't sell gold. And the person that invited you on this call doesn't sell gold. The reason you're on the call is because someone shared enough about you, and they're hoping you will hear something today that could help you protect your family and your future. We're sounding the alarm. It's raining, and things are not quite right. So if the experts are telling us that the next great wealth transfer, the next AKA recession, is going to be far worse than the last one, then let's prepare. We all have been told by our grandparents and our great-grandparents that we should all have extra food, extra water, extra money and gold set aside for tough times. And the way I look at it is that if nothing ever happens, then what have we lost? We drink our water, we eat our food, and we spend our gold. But if something does happen, there's going to be a few more of us that are going to be out of the chaos. But gold has always outperformed the U.S. dollar, and it always will. The U.S. dollar is at an all-time low. 40 years ago, if you would have placed a gram of gold on the table and a dollar bill on the table, 40 years ago, they had almost the same purchasing power. The gram of gold would have bought 5 loaves of bread, and the dollar would have bought 4 loaves of bread. And some of you remember Grandma telling you about 25 cents a loaf of bread, so you can back me up on this. But that was only 40 years ago. So fast forward to today, put the same gram of gold on the table and the same dollar bill on the table. That gram of gold, instead of buying 4 loaves of bread, would now buy 20 loaves of bread. That same dollar, instead of buying 5 loaves of bread 40 years ago, will now maybe buy you a half a loaf. So now the question becomes, if we fast forward 5 years from now, how much bread do you think that dollar is going to buy then? Maybe a piece. But the flip side of that question is, if currently 1 gram of gold is buying 20 loaves, how much bread do you think it's going to buy in 5 years? Enough to feed not only you, but your loved ones and people around you. So we feel the effects of the declining dollar every day we go to spend it, but it's time to pay attention to what's happening around the world also. Why is this happening? There are signs out there that aren't being talked about here in America. Countries, and especially China and Russia, are buying up gold in record volumes and preparing for a shift. There's a plan to reset the world currency. And what does that mean? The U.S. dollar is currently the world reserve currency, but countries have lost confidence in the U.S. dollar, and these countries are banding together to decouple themselves away from the U.S. dollar. They're forming alliances in their own banking systems backed by gold. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to Google BRICS and AIIB out of China. BRICS is an acronym which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And this bank has over 134 countries joining with it. AIIB Bank out of China a couple months ago just invited all of our allies to be a part, and all of our allies joined. Israel, England, Germany, they all joined. And here's the scary part. The United States wasn't even invited to the table. So you do your own research. The BRICS Bank will rival the World Bank, and we're getting ready to take a second seat in that. Gold is about $1,200 to $1,300 an ounce, but Peter Schiff of Stansberry Digest sees that gold will go to $5,000 an ounce with no limits as to how high it will go. He says because all the countries are in so much debt, it could take gold to as high as $100,000 an ounce to eradicate the world debt. I guess it really, though, just depends on whether the world has the stomach to start eradicating debt, because we sure don't see that here in the U.S. But since March, India has imported 125 tons of gold. London sent 100 metric tons to Switzerland. China brought several hundred tons, and now there's a supply deficit because they're buying more than what's being produced. And as you already know, China is the number one economy in the world. They're building islands off their coast, which is extending their sovereignty. By extending their borders, they'll be able to control all the trade routes. So they literally could control the price of gold, and gold could become the official backing of all the currencies, which means gold is only going to increase in price. But yet, get this, China is telling their citizens to save as much gold as possible. So is Russia and other countries. China's even set a maximum as to what you can save. You can't save more than a gram of gold a day. But you don't hear those words coming out of our government. All you see here is turn your gold in. Everywhere you turn, cash for gold. We buy gold. Signs are everywhere. There's nothing about saving gold. But instead, give us your broken earrings, give us your broken necklaces and whatever. Turn your gold in. And we're turning our gold in for what's pennies on the dollars. So we got to start paying attention, and if everybody else is doing what they can to get away from the U.S. dollar, we got to ask ourselves, why on earth are we holding on to it? Jim Rickards, author of Currency Wars, Making of the Next Global Crisis, it was published in 2001, and then Death of Money, The Coming Collapse of the International Monetary Fund, published in 2004, says, and I quote, "Gold is still the safest asset, and every investor should have some in his portfolio. The price of gold will go significantly higher in the years ahead, but contrary to what you read in the blogs, gold won't go higher because China is confronting the U.S. or launching gold-backed currency. It will go higher when all central banks, China and the U.S. is included, confront the next global liquidity crisis. It could be worse than the one in 2008, and citizens will stampede into gold to preserve wealth in a world that has lost confidence in all central banks. When that happens, physical gold may not be available at all. The time to buy your personal gold reserve is now," unquote, by Jim Rickards. So I promise you that in years from now, from this day forward, we will look back on taking action today and start saving our gold. And what's going to happen is it's just going to be one of those big wow days, because this is about being uncomfortable now to be comfortable when others can't. You need to get your hands on as much currency-grade gold as you can and get the word out to others so that we will change not only our families' lives, but we will have the ability to change entire communities. So when you drive through town and you see all these signs that say, "We buy gold, cash for gold," just pause and wonder why there's such a huge gold on demand rush. Why are there gold ATM machines in New York City and Boca Raton and Las Vegas? You put your driver's license in and then $76 in cash and you pull a gram of gold out. Do they know something that we don't? Think about how the times have changed. We've gone from paying our bills with checks and cash to charging and paying our bills with pieces of plastic, and now turning cash into gold. And that's a clue. And here's the kicker. The gold coming out of those ATM machines is U.S. minted. So flashback 1935, Roosevelt wrote an executive order to confiscate U.S. minted gold as well as what was in safety deposit banks. And because the communication wasn't as effective as it is today, even though it was only supposed to be U.S. minted gold, everyone turned their gold in. So remember, anything U.S. minted or coins, you're only the bearer of that gold. You don't own that gold. So history can and will repeat itself. So, but we are making progress here in the U.S. in Utah, South Carolina, Idaho, Missouri, Montana, Indiana, Georgia, Colorado, and Arizona. They all accept gold and silver as legal tender. On the books, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Vermont, North Carolina, Washington, Tennessee, Virginia, New Hampshire have legislation pending to accept gold and silver as legal tender so we can pay our bills with it. But I live in Virginia. Here's the wording in the Virginia bill. Quote, "To serve as an alternative to the currency distributed by the Federal Reserve System in the event of a major breakdown of the Federal Reserve System," unquote. Somebody knows what's going on. Somebody knows. So Karatbars pays you to save. Find that anywhere. Go to a Bank America and let them know that you're going to be sending them lots of customers because they are offering free accounts which is a joke, on their bank accounts, and would they mind giving you a little referral money on the money those customers save for the rest of their lives? And you know what? Here's the question. We would have no hesitation sending people to a Bank of America or a Citibank or any of these big banks if they knew they had free accounts and that we'd get a little part of it. But I tell you what, Karatbars does exactly that. We help people open up free gold savings account with no fees, and just for caring enough to tell them about the free accounts, Karatbars will pay you anywhere between 0.5% and 6% on the gold they save and any referrals that they've made as well. So we are an e-commerce company that started in 2011 and currently serving in 123 countries. And unlike the big banks, Karatbars is totally debt-free. They specialize in privately issued currency grade 999.9 24-karat gold bullion. And get this, Karatbars is opening a gold bank in Dubai, the first in the world, using our gold currency. So, and again, please understand, you keep hearing me say the words gold, currency grade gold versus regular gold. This is not jewelry, not coins. Coins are only 91%, and you have to have them assayed and authenticated. Our gold bullion is sealed in its own certificate with hologram security features and blacklight features, and so we don't have to go through all those hoops and things to get our gold assayed and authenticated. Our gold is LBMA certified. We have access to 3 LBMA refineries. Out of the thousands of gold refineries, there's only about 50 plus that are on the LBMA, which stands for London Bullion Market Association, that are on that good delivery list. The gold coming out of these LBMA refineries are what banks and countries use for settlement of debt. There's only 3 to 4 companies that work in 999.9 24-karat gold bullion in smaller sizes like we do, 1 gram, 2.5 grams, and 5 gram sizes. And guess what? Our gold is equal to or lower than their prices, but more importantly, we offer lower shipping, we offer free storage, and none of them offer any kind of rewards program. So it's important to save in gold to hedge against a declining dollar. It's the only way to protect yourself against inflation, which is really confiscating your wealth. We want you to position yourself on the correct side of this upcoming wealth transfer. And it's this vehicle that Karatbars has given us to save at $61 a gram, start saving in currency-grade gold in small pieces that everybody can afford so that we will be protected, because I promise you there's going to be a shift. So you no longer have any excuses not to save in gold. We will help you save 1 gram at a time, or whatever increment you want, with free gold savings account that you totally control and direct. 100% of your money goes to the purchase of your gold. There's no brokers or middlemen. There's absolutely no service fees, monthly service fees to maintain your account. You can store your gold offshore for free or have it delivered directly to your door. You control everything. So everyone now has a chance to protect themselves. So we're asking you to wake up, to pay attention to the handwriting on the wall, prepare, protect yourself, and then start the education process with us. Start educating others, because here's the reality of it. If you'll help us educate, you're going to make some serious money, and you're not only be able to get yourself out of debt, but you're going to be able to start earning free gold, because we're in the business for looking for people that want to save gold and help us educate. We're not looking for gold salesmen. We're not buying gold but exchanging dollars. Understand the difference between buying gold and exchanging gold. If I give you a dollar bill and you give me 4 quarters, I didn't buy money. I simply exchange the form that it's in. We're not talking about stocks and bonds and giving you certificates that you then have to turn into worthless dollars, but we're talking about exchanging dollars into gold delivered to your door or stored for free at no extra charge. So if you're wise enough to join Karatbars, we'll show you how to save your money. We'll show you how to exchange it, and we're going to show you how to earn free gold by educating others. We are referral agents for Karatbars. Karatbars is not an MLM. It's not a network marketing company, but a debt-free international e-commerce company with a goal to get the highest quality of gold into the hands of everyone worldwide at a price that everyone can afford. So we're asking you to go help us change the world by educating people in how to do this and how to get paid nicely for doing it, because we are making a difference all around the world in 123 countries. It's a major movement worldwide, and we're asking you to be a part of it because we want you to enjoy in the fruits of its labor, but we want you to be a part of just literally touching lives one by one. So I want to thank you for your time, and I want to encourage you to get back to the person that invited you to be on this call, get all of your questions answered. Thank them for caring enough about you to let you know about this very special movement. So take care and God bless.